Folks, welcome back to Flatiron's Tuning for your Suba news for the second week of May 2026. We've got to talk about the Nurburgring 24-hour challenge, how the Boxer Rally spec.Z, the new all-wheel drive Subaru BRZ rally car that Team Arai and Subaru have built in Japan, did in their first rally this past weekend. And we've got to look forward to a couple of motorsports events happening this weekend. And we've got some interesting news here from Subaru for you, a little, maybe a teaser that they're dropping for us. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, we just want to make sure you like, subscribe, hit that hype button if you see it. That really helps us. That really gets the word out about the channel. We greatly appreciate it. Okay, so let's get into it. So first, let's start with the Boxer Rally spec.Z, the BRZ all-wheel drive rally car that Subaru and Team Arai have built. Competed in its first rally, the Asuka Rally, this past weekend, and it did pretty well. In fact, Love Cars TV, he's got an amazing video with basically chronicling the whole thing, interviews the people involved. Put a link to that in the description. A lot of good stuff came out of this rally. It sounds like they had an issue with an axle or maybe a drivetrain issue the first day that slowed them down and they put them back in the field, but they were able to keep the car running, get through the whole event. They finished the event and they finished 5th in class, which was a decent event. Very interesting. Mr. Fujinuki, the CTO of Subaru, was present. Mr. Yamada, who is the director of sports car development, and we see him in another video that Love Cars was able to do with Mr. Arai and Mr. Yamada about the build process of this BRZ race car, which we're going to do a deep dive into in another video, so stay tuned for that. But he's there talking about the results and how they were just happy that they didn't have any more significant issues and the car was able to get through and finish its first rally. And I think that, you know, they like the direction it's going, but they've got some growing pains. It sounds like they had some heating issues with the engine, as well as these drivetrain issues that slowed them down. But the car looks great. It sounds great. It sounds like there was a ton of people, a ton of spectators that came out to check out the car, which makes total sense. I mean, if I was anywhere that I could easily and quickly get there, I definitely want to see this thing in action. So sounds like they're getting a lot of the results that they wanted. They've just got to work out some bugs. And their very next event is 3 weeks from now. And it sounds like that's going to be more of a gravel rally. So we'll actually get to see this Boxer Rally spec.Z do more normal rally things. And so that's kind of exciting. I hope they can continue to refine this car and develop it. And they've been very transparent about what they've been doing with the car and how they've been developing it. And I hope that continues because especially with the engine, one of the comments that they made is that, you know, they're competing against other cars that are running Rally 2 or Rally 5 engines. And so they're not 100% sure if the configuration that they have the engine in right now is going to be as competitive as they want it to be, which is kind of interesting. So let's see what they do with that. Where do they go from there? Do they actually really try and develop a Rally 2 engine, which would make this into basically a proper Rally 2 car? And then what would that do for if they wanted to bring it over here or some variant of it and bring it over here and run it in the ARA? So lots still to pay attention here, but it's great how much information we're getting out about this build. And it's really interesting to see how much support Team Arai is getting from Subaru and the higher-ups at Subaru to build this car. So it's exciting stuff. Now, as we're recording this, in fact, right before I checked, in the qualifying session, one of the qualifying sessions for the Nurburgring 24-hour race is happening right now. And that race is this weekend. Subaru is going to be there with their Nurburgring Challenge STI. Last year, they got in a little bit of an accident, and that kind of put them down in the standings. Hopefully this year they're going to have a good race, a good clean race, get a good result. But it sounds like they're doing a lot of development on the car and are happy with it so far. And it's really interesting to see what's going to happen with the engine in this car, because there's a lot of parallels between the engine that they're running this year in their Nurburgring car to the Super Taiko car. And it sounds like they've even turn the wick up a little bit more than what they've done in the Super Taiko cars. And this is a 24-hour endurance race at the Nürburgring. Very challenging. Going to put a lot of stress through that drivetrain, so let's see what happens. Let's see how it handles it. It's going to be a fun race to watch, so make sure you tune in and check that out. The last piece of motorsports news is the Oregon Trail Rally is also this weekend. Now, this year, for 2026, the Oregon Trail Rally is a regional event. It's not a national event, so it's not going to be as big as it usually is. But there's a ton of rally cars, good rally cars there on the West Coast. If you're in the area, it's going to be a fun one to watch. Oregon Trail, it's always a good event. So if you're in there, check it out. If you can't get out there, head over to ARA, follow the live results, see how things are going. It's going to be a good event. And the next national rally is the Southern Ohio Forest Rally, which is coming up here, I think, next month. We're going to have to miss that because there's a ton going on in June, like the Pikes Peak Hill Climb. But yeah, that should be another good one. And then off to Raleigh, Colorado. So lots of good motorsports stuff happening this week and this weekend with Subaru. All right, now at the end here, Subaru has dropped an interesting, well, they've done something interesting and it's worth mentioning. They have patented two names of cars, the ACX and ACX STI, and this is in the Australian market. One of the reports that I've read says that they've patented this name in other countries as well, but this is specific to the Australian market. Now here's the thing, this name is strange, ACX. I've never heard of this before, I don't know if you have, but it turns out in Australia, there was a concept car way back in 1985 called the ACX. And what it was is what we knew here as the XT. Now this is not an Outback XT or anything like that. This is just the XT, which this is the wedge-shaped car, which did have a turbocharged engine initially, but then they put in the 6-cylinder. That was the XT6, which was a precursor of the SVX. If the name is tied at all to what the ACX was in the Australian market, this is a 6-cylinder car. It's a two-door coupe. It's small, and it kind of, like you could see that there could be some overlap with what they may be developing with the BRZ. It's just a name, but they have patented it, and it's an interesting parallel to what the first ACX was in Subaru nomenclature. So does this imply that something is going to be coming that's a two-door coupe that might have a 6-cylinder engine in it, or be a small two-door coupe, maybe Subaru's next revision or generation of what the BRZ is now? We're just going to have to wait and see. We're getting towards the middle of the year, and those car shows towards the end of this year, so like September, October, around those times, we're probably going to start to see a lot more hints at what Subaru's going to do for 2027, if anything. So we got to stay tuned for that. This is a really interesting one. Very curious if we see or hear anything more out of Subaru about what this ACX concept is, or what they're doing with it. So it's worth paying attention to. Anytime Subaru patents something and word sneaks out, it's worth kind of keeping that on your radar. So that's the SubaNews for the second week of May 2026. Thanks very much for your support as always, and until next time, stay tuned with Flatirons Tuning.